Hey guys, welcome back to my channel if you're new here. My name is Sydney. I film cruelty-free beauty videos, and today's video is going to be one that's very different from my channel, but it's one that I'm excited to film. I'm up to the challenge. So in today's video, I'm going to be recreating this face chart that was actually created for me by a wonderful artist whose screen name is Russet Firefly. She reached out a couple weeks ago and asked if I wanted to collab, and I said yes, and so that's what we're doing today. I am a little bit nervous because I feel like this look is really out of my comfort zone, but like I said, I'm up for the challenge. I had like a new filming setup today to create this look. I'm really excited to kind of play with it. I mean, I've already filmed videos in front of my Christmas tree, but I don't know, I'm just excited. So let's not blabber on any farther. Let's hop into the video. Okay guys, so per usual, we're gonna start with the eyes. Like usual, I'm probably gonna do one eye on camera, one eye off camera. Kind of feel like maybe I should start off camera. Well, we're already here. We're just gonna do one on camera first. And so to start off, I'm gonna start by priming my eyes. I'm gonna use my MAC paint pot. MAC is not cruelty free, but I bought this before I went cruelty free, and so I'm just trying to use it up. I really kind of hate it. But I just like to dip my blender right into the product, and then I like to just gently press it onto my lid. Okay guys, this is definitely going to be one of those looks where I jump around between palettes and singles and all that. The first palette that I thought of when I saw this face chart was my Kaleido Cosmetics Feral palette. This has a lot of those greens and kind of yellow tones, but then I was also like, well, you should probably grab your Royal Affair palette and your Arcana palette since those are in your project pan right now. And then I was like, well, none of those really have a bright yellow single, so I went and grabbed a singles palette that had Sydney Grace Limited in it. So we're just gonna do some bouncing around. This is a shape that I'm also not super comfortable with. It's like a full-on cut crease. I love doing a good half cut crease, but full-on cut creases make me a little bit nervous. So this is definitely going to be an adventure. But we're gonna start off by building up the crease, and so like in the very inner portion of the crease I see a yellow, so I'm gonna dip into Kaleido Cosmetics Night Eyes. I almost called that alpha. It's definitely not alpha, and I'm just gonna do this with a Wet n Wild fluffy brush. I got this in one of their holiday collections a couple years ago. I'm so bummed that they're no longer cruelty free because I feel like they just had so many good products, and I loved recommending their brushes. I'm just kind of lightly blending this in the inner half of my crease. We are going to do something a bit peachier on the outer half, and then I'm just going to blend that out with a fluffy brush. Okay, now for the outer portion of my crease, I'm going to go in with Lethal Cosmetics Cycle, which is like a nice light peachy shade, and start blending that kind of into my outer crease, outer upper crease. Why does that look so dark? Was this brush? I hope this brush was not dirty. But we're just going to roll with it. Whenever I use this shadow from Lethal Cosmetics, it always makes me think of Cantaloupe. So I feel like it should be called Cantaloupe, not Cycle. And then once again, just take a bare fluffy brush. I'm going to go in with just a little bit of that yellow just to re-intensify it. And also kind of help blend it into Cycle. Once again, just take a bare fluffy brush to really buff everything out. So I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. Camo Concealer, and I'm going to use this to start cutting my crease. Probably gonna speed this up in editing because I feel like this is gonna be a little bit of a long process. I'm just gonna do this with a BH Cosmetics number 10 brush, just like a really flat shader brush. Whew, wish me luck. This is my difficult cut crease. I don't know why I chose to do this one on camera. Okay guys, I think this is probably as good as it's gonna get. In the picture, the wing is a little bit more upturned, but I don't know if I really have enough faith in myself to attempt that. So I think this is where my cut crease is going to stay, at least for right now. Maybe we'll play with it in a second. Now that I have a lot of concealer on my lid, so I'm just going to take my finger and gently pat over it to kind of help blend it in a little bit and pick up any excess. Okay, so now it looks like there's a nice deep green across most of the lid, and there's like a little halo of a brighter green. And for that, I kind of want to dip into this palette first. Or should I do it with like shimmers? Because I have some really pretty deep green shimmers in my Arcana palette from Kaleido Cosmetics. This one's my project pan. Maybe we'll go in with this shade? Don't know. I think I'm gonna go in with the matte first, and then I might top it with the shimmer just for fun. I can't really tell based on the face chart like whether it's matte or shimmer, so let's try it. So first I'm gonna go in with this shade right here from Kaleido Cosmetics. It's from the Feral palette. This shade is called Ivy. I think I'm gonna take another Wet n Wild brush. This one well, these aren't labeled. This is like a packer brush. It's so bizarre for me to use like a matte shadow on like a packing brush because I almost always put matte shadows on a fluffier, like more blending type brush. So I'm kind of avoiding the very center of my lid because we are going to go in with something a little bit brighter. And I'm really not worrying about anything that falls below like the bottom of our cut crease, because I'm just going to go in and clean that up with my makeup eraser. Whew, you guys, I'm feeling nervous at this point. Oh, I feel like this might be a look that calls for some falsies. Okay, I don't have a ton of green left. Okay, that's a lie. There's quite a bit of pigment left on here still. But I'm just going to like very lightly go in the center of my lid in like my crease. I just personally like that when I have a halo eye to have a little bit of a contrasting something at the very top of my halo. See, it's not quite as dark as everything else. And then I think I'm going to go in with, should I go in with Huchera or should I go in with, what is this shade called? Crown. I feel like Crown is a little bit brighter, so let's go in with that one. Of course, I'm going to go in with a little bit of my NYX glitter glue as I usually do on the back of my hand before we go in with the shimmer shadow. And then I'm just going to focus this on the very center of my lid. So I'm going to go into the Faro palette and we're going to go into Huchera. I know I just changed my mind as to which one I was going to use. I'm just going to pop that right over top of where we had the glitter glue. Ooh, that's a pretty shadow. Ooh, okay, that's really pretty. So I'm just going to kind of wipe this off a little bit on my makeup eraser, and then I'm going to go back in with just, there's a tiny bit of glitter glue left on the back of my hand. I'm just going to kind of gently spread that all over my brush, and then on like the edges of Huchera that we just placed down, I'm kind of blending into the green a little bit. I just placed that, and then I'm going to dip into my Kaleido Cosmetics Arcana palette, dip into Alchemy. This shade is so pretty, you guys. Oh my goodness. And with just a teeny, oh, I cannot see out of that mirror. With just a teeny tiny bit, I'm going to work on overlapping and kind of blending that lighter green into the deeper green. I only put down the glitter glue because since my eyes are a little bit hooded, I have a lot of transfer issues with shimmer shades. So I find that if I put down a little bit glitter glue, even if I'm using a deeper shimmer shade, it's not necessarily like my statement lid shade. It really helps them like lock into place. And same for the inner portion. I try to be precise with the brush, but really with halo eyes when I'm blending, I tend to just go in with my finger. I'm going to dip back into Huchera just a little tiny bit. And I'm just going to tap that in the center and then lightly kind of tap it over the other green that we just applied. And then maybe go in with a little bit of Alchemy on my finger just to lightly blend. Just like that. So now I'm going to take my makeup eraser and I'm going to clean up this edge a little bit. A lot of it actually. And just kind of drag it upwards toward my brow. So I think I'm going to leave this eye here for now. I'm going to hop, oops. I'm going to leave this eye here for now. I'm going to hop off camera, do this eye, and then we'll come back for the face. Okay guys, so to save a little bit of time, I just did my foundation and concealer off camera. I used my NYX Born to Glow foundation all over my face, and then I just used my Bare Minerals Bare Skin Concealer under my eyes to brighten things up a little bit. So now, going back to the face chart, things are looking a little bit bronzy on the perimeter of the face. So I went and grabbed my Tower 28 Bronzio bronzer because I feel like the face chart looks bronzy, but it's not like I just spent 4 hours on the beach bronzy, you know? And I feel like this is a bit of a softer alternative to like my Milk Makeup bronzer. So I'm going to take this little angled brush from AOA Studio. It's the F14. This gives a really, really nice kind of soft application of cream products. Load some product up on there and then just start stamping. Actually, with this one, I almost like kind of like buffing motions, even with cream products. I'm kind of taking this onto the cheek too, because I am going to go in with more of like a bronzy nude blush. And then hitting my forehead. I know it's looking a little bit like not super blended out right now, but I'm going to go in with my sponge in just a second. I'm going to take a powder bronzer down my neck and like do my jaw and all that in just a second, but I want to do all the creams on my face first. And then just taking that same brush, I'm going to dip into my e.l.f. cream blush palette, one of my absolute favorites, and I'm just going to dip into, let's do this shade right here. This is like a nice nudie bronze shade. I think it'll go nicely with the bronzer that I chose today. And once again, I'm just going to kind of very gently buff that onto my cheeks. Again, I know I look a little bit crazy, but I like to go in a little bit heavier handed with my cream products because I feel like they really do just sink into the skin so much. So I apply a little bit extra from the get-go, so like by the time we're done, I'm not like, I need some more blush. I mean, I usually end up adding more blush anyways, but you guys know what I mean. And it does kind of look like in the face chart that it's brought across the nose a little bit. So I'm just gonna do that kind of more towards the end of my nose, a la Beauty Bean style. And then I'm just gonna take the butt of my sponge and start tapping over it. See how beautifully does that just blend in now? It looks so natural on my skin, like texture wise, not necessarily color wise, because I'm definitely not this tan usually. I think I'm happy with that level of bronze and blush. Do you guys feel like it's like super apparent where it's not in my hairline? I tried to show it up there, but I feel like I didn't do a great job. So really quickly, just before I forget, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of my Cover FX bronzer, just hit my neck really quick, because if I don't do it now, I will definitely forget. And I'll have filmed my videos and I'll turn off the camera and I'll be like, your neck looks a little pale compared to your face. You guys, you know what, already I'm kind of like, I want some more blush. So I'm gonna go in and add just a little bit more of this blush just before we move on. Once again, just lightly tap it in with my sponge. Here, I brought this, my little Salt New York palette out. We'll use the cream highlighter in there. I can't really tell if the face chart has highlighter on it, but I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of this. I'm just gonna take this really tiny, like, dense domed brush from BH Cosmetics. It's the number 6 brush from their White Marble collection. I really like this brush with my cream highlighter, and I'm just gonna like really load some product up on there, and then just kind of lightly buff it. I don't love stamping this product unless I'm using my fingers, then like gently pressing it in works, but little buff and tapping motions work well with it. Oh, so pretty. I feel like up close I'm like, oh, this is kind of a subtle highlighter, and then I see it like on camera, I happen to like look in the mirror that's a little farther away from me, I'm like, oh, maybe we're not so subtle after all. Alright, you guys, so at this point, this is where I usually set my face. I'm just going to take a little bit of my Beauty Bakery flour powder. First, I like to go in with a little itty bitty sponge to really concentratedly set like my under eyes and my smile lines. I do kind of a mini bake, my smile lines. And then for the rest of my face, I just like to take like a fluffy-ish brush, take a little bit of powder. Since it's winter now, I really don't need a ton of powder, but when I'm on camera, I like to hit my T-zone, and then I kind of just very lightly tap over my cheeks to set down those powders just a touch. Okay, I'm just gonna add a hint of a little bit more highlighter, mostly because I'm trying to hit my 25 uses on my Flower Beauty highlighter. So I'm just going to dip into this lightest shade right here. It's a little broken, so I should be careful. And just super lightly top that Salt New York highlighter. Woo! So now I get to the part where I'm a little bit worried, because the brows in this picture look very much like almost feathered. So I'm really lazy when it comes to doing my brows, you guys. I don't have the patience to sit there and like draw in individual brow hairs. I already have pretty full brows. They just really need a little bit of shaping. So usually I just go with a pomade and kind of fill them in. I think I've attempted to do my brows like this 1 or 2 times, but it's been kind of unsuccessful. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna hop off camera really quick. I'm gonna attempt to do one off camera, come back, and maybe we'll try to do the other one on camera together. We'll see. Or if it's like a total disaster, I'll just do both of them off camera. I'll be right back. Okay, so I attempted to do the fluffy brow. Don't think it really worked. I just tried to like lightly fill them in, then I come upward with some brow gel, but I just don't know if I quite have the brows to do that, or the skills or the tools to do that. So now it's time to move on to the lower lash line. And lower lash line kind of starts out like purpley on the edges, and then there's like a bright blue and a pop of yellow, which is very interesting. Definitely outside of my comfort zone. So I'm gonna need a purple. So for the purple, I was thinking that we would go in with this shade right here. It's called Allium. I think that's what it's called. And I'm just going to take a pencil brush. This one happens to be from e.l.f. from the J. Kizza set. I'm just going to take a little bit of this and start smudging it in kind of that halo shape. So on the inner portion of my lower lash line and then the outer portion of my lower lash line. I apologize if the lighting is changing, you guys. I'm filming in my living room, which has some more natural light, which is fantastic, but also that means we're at the whim of the sun, so bear with me, please. And then in the center of my lower lash line, there's a really pretty blue-green pop. And for that, I'm going to dip back into the Ferrell palette, and I'm going to dip into Harmonia right here, which is this beautiful matte teal shadow. I'm just going to take this on a little chubby Real Technique smudger brush. I don't think this is a smudger brush. Honestly, this is like an eyeshadow-based brush. And I'm just kind of packing that under my lower lash line. I'm just going to take a little bit of the purple, kind of smudge it into the blue just to kind of help blend it out a little bit. And then for that pop of yellow, I'm going to actually dip into my single shadows. This is the shade Lemonade from Sydney Grace. It's the most intense yellow I have in my collection, and I'm going to take this, actually, you know what, first I'm going to lay down a little bit of glitter glue to really make this pop. I'm putting this in just the very center of my lower lash line, and then with a little bit of Lemonade on my brush, just gonna pat that directly over top. This is definitely a different look for me. I feel like I'm gonna need some falsies with this look. I was like, maybe I can get away without falsies, but now that like it's all coming together, I'm gonna need them. I can tell. And then finally for the inner corner, it looks like there's just like a soft shimmery purple in the inner corner. And once again, I'm gonna dip into a single. Technically, this is a depotted shadow. This is ColourPop. Lordy, I can't even read what it says. Not Playing from the ColourPop Chasing Rainbows palette that just took a dive onto my lap. So with that same little smudger brush, I'm going to take a little bit of glitter glue, pop it in my inner corner, and then dip into this ColourPop shade and just press it in there. This is so far outside my comfort zone, but it was kind of fun to do. Alright, you guys, I'm gonna hop off camera, throw in some falsies. I can't really tell based on the face chart whether or not falsies were intended to be with this look. At first I was thinking no, but now that I have it on, I'm like, I need some falsies. So I'm gonna be right back, put those on, and then we'll come back to finish off the lips and wrap up this video. Okay, I feel like my lash application is a little bit off, but it's been so long since I've worn lashes, so I'm a little rusty. But for my lip combo today, it looks like based on the picture, it's kind of a peachy brownish nude. So I'm going to start out by taking my Kat Von D liquid lipstick in Bow and Arrow. This is again in my project pan. I'm trying so hard to hit my goals with this one, and I'm gonna just kind of dot this across my lips initially, and then I'm just gonna smudge it in with my finger. The lip lines are not super precise in the picture. I'm kind of like smudgily overlining my lips a little bit with this, just because the lips in the picture look like super juicy. So then I'm going to go in with the ColourPop Luxe Gloss in the shade Wildflower. This is from the Raw Beauty Christie collection. It's a really pretty nudie pink. I think that's really going to lighten up this lip to the shade we're looking for. Okay, just kidding. I don't think this looks right. I think it looks a little bit funky, so I'm going to wipe it off, at least most of it off. I think I applied a little bit too much liquid lipstick. I like that tone much better. Let's slap a little gloss over top of this now. Okay, I feel like that's better. I hope that's closer to the picture. Here's kind of the final result, you guys. Of course, I'll pop in a picture of the face chart right here so you guys can kind of see side by side. How did I do? How did I do? I feel like this was a really fun exercise to kind of get me out of my comfort zone. Again, this is like totally different than I think pretty much anything I've ever done. But it was really fun to get out of my comfort zone. Thank you so much, Russet Firefly, for providing the face chart. Guys, don't forget to go check out her channel and all of her socials. I'll have them linked down below. I believe she's doing a corresponding video with this video on how she's creating the face chart and stuff like that. So definitely go check that out. But that's going to wrap it up for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let me know if you guys have ever tried to recreate a face chart. I feel like even if you don't have a channel or something like that and you're just a makeup lover, I feel like it would be a fun way to kind of step outside your comfort zone. So that's all for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!